Hello everybody. I hope everybody's good. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Hi, I am Sophie, for those of you who don't know me, and we have Catherine who's here. Hi, Catherine. And we are here tonight as Artist Online to get the show on the road and to talk to artists. So thank you very much for being here. I'm assuming if you've here you've seen us on social media. Let me just check that we've got nobody waiting to come in. So there is a chat. If anybody wants to ask any questions or anything, you can you can write a message in the chat. And yeah, we're here tonight to talk about the art world as it is today and what we want to do to change it, to make it better, to make it easier, to make it possible for art to be out there, to get sold and to get seen, and to stop the gatekeeping and all the barriers to entry that artists face. Where's everybody joining us from? Can you pop it in the chat? I want to make sure the chat's working and I want to know where in the world everybody is. Let's have a look. Let's see if the chat's working. Anybody in the chat? We've got Gigi in London. Hi, London, city of my heart. I grew up there. Love it. And then we're going to get some more messages in there. I think we've got someone in Godalming. Hello, everyone, UK. Yes, it's divided in two clans, France and UK, right, at the moment. Oh, Sweden. Hi, Joanna from Sweden. I can't see Joanna. Sweden, how lovely. I don't know if the translation thing is working properly, but I know that Swedish people tend to speak great English. So, yeah, let me know if there's anything that needs clarification or anything, just let me know. France, yeah. So, but I know you speak good English, don't you, Liz? So I don't think you'll need the auto French translation caption. I can see Dominique's here. Hi, Dominique. Um, what kind of art does everybody do? You're all artists, right? What kind of art? South Carolina. Oh my goodness, April, what time is it for you? You're in the US. How exciting. Oh, this is brilliant. Wow, I was expecting European stuff, 2 p.m. Okay, so it's nice and chill. Okay, good. I'm glad the timing worked out. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from the US. Wow. We're a long way away. I can see Chris Pearson has entered the chat, one of my beloved artists. Hi, Chris. I have some of your artwork on my wall. First thing I see when I get up in the morning is one of your paintings. Chris is also in France. So yeah, we're here tonight to talk about, well, what it's like to be an artist nowadays, because we keep hearing about how easy it should be and how accessible it all should be. But what we don't talk about is the fact that the art agent from back in the days just doesn't exist anymore, right? Back in the days, you'd have these really aggressive kind of salesy art agents who would go out there and who would work really hard to get the art sold. They had all the contacts for the galleries and they knew exactly where to send your art for it to be sent. And then they take a big chunk of that money, right? Your art got out there and it got sold. And it feels like this has really changed since then. There's no one individual art agent. I don't even know if that job exists anymore in the way that we think of it. And we're supposed to have all these modern tools at our disposal, and yet it doesn't feel easier, does it? Everything out there is supposed to be easier. There's the social media and the internet, and everybody can take super great photos just with their phone, and somehow it's still a struggle. And an artist online started with the seed of an idea. I was at an art exhibition in Rome representing one of my very favorite artists, Dominique. Hi, Dominique. And when I was there, literally every single artist at that exhibition asked me if I could be their art agent because they all face those same struggles. The cost of exhibiting is very high with no guarantee of a sale after it. And having to be visible on social media is taking up a lot of time and a lot of effort and diluting that pleasure of creation. And no one's out there fighting their corner. It seems like art feeds the soul of the artist, but at the same time, it opens up this really deep chasm of loneliness of having to kind of do all the things. And creative souls generally are not big fans of business development and doing all the things they're supposed to do. Um, so we've decided with Catherine, we decided to launch Artist Online so that we could help as many artists out there as possible. My daughter's an artist, and I saw at school that she received no encouragement for her skills, and she is very talented. I wish I had her talent, but I really don't. And I had to really fight to help her on the path for further studies because everybody will say, oh, you can't make money as an artist, and, nobody makes it. And I find that really unfair. And I think it's incorrect. I think anybody can go out there and make money from art. I think the problem is when there's a disconnect between the way that you get your art out there. So, when you're building a house, any kind of a house, you're going to need some sort of a foundation and you're going to need a support to hold up your roof. But then you can decide what style your house is in the exterior, and you can absolutely decide what you want inside your house. What kind of a bathroom, what kind of a kitchen, like you can do whatever you want. And I think an artist's career is the same way. So you're an artist, you create art, whatever kind of art that might be, and you get the fulfillment of that creativity. But how you market it can really depend on what suits you and what fits you. At the moment, I'm working on a PR campaign for an artist who is the most prolific artist I know, thousands upon thousands of pieces. And the artist who created all that artwork says somebody's in mind for the recipient. There's a piece of the artist's soul in every piece of art, and we're basically looking for the true owner of the artwork. And that artist isn't comfortable with social media. That artist doesn't necessarily want to put themselves out there front of camera. It's just in their DNA to create. They're out there, they're just creating, and it's just like breathing. Art is just like breathing for that person. But all the stuff that you're expected to do as an artist doesn't fit into that artist's way of life, way of feeling and being in the world. And so we sat down and we kind of trying to work out the best way of getting this amazing collection out into the world. And we've decided that actually we'd probably quite like to do a big PR campaign where we can get huge amount of visibility whilst respecting the artist's personal boundaries. That artist doesn't want to be filming themselves to be on social media. And so I love that. I love being able to define what works for that particular artist, for their particular type of creation, and really kind of navigating this new way of being in the art world, whilst hoping that we can actually just change the art world. Because on the other side of it, you have people who are too scared to come into the art world. They won't feel comfortable walking into an art gallery because it's for other people, for other kind of people. And I think that's the opposite of what art is for, right? The idea of art is to make people think and feel things. And everybody should have access to feelings and thoughts, right? So that's what we're all about at Artist Online. And I was hoping that today we could start an informal conversation, does what it says on the tin, just talking with each other about the difficulties like that artists are facing and what we as artists online can do to support, to help artists through that, to market the artists so that they get more visibility and more sales. So internally, we're working on a bunch of art shows, and I'm very aware that all the resources are out there. If you want to learn how to do Instagram for artists, there's a whole bunch of courses and influencers you can follow, and the resources are out there. But it just feels like so much hard work, right? And it doesn't feel like what you want to be doing. When you're an artist, your happy place is in the creation, right? It's not on thinking about the Instagram algorithm, right? Um, so we're trying to cut through that. Um, but I would love to know, what are the things that you struggle with? What are the reasons that you might feel your art career isn't taking off the way that you want it to? What are the business sides of your art career that are an obstacle for you, that are maybe a sticking point, something that you know you should be doing, but you can't quite push yourself over it to get it done? So that's my question to all you guys, all you amazing artists there, because some of you I know personally, and yeah, I know that you guys are very talented and really dedicated. And there's also a real mix, because some artists create because it's part of their DNA to create. It's just the same as breathing. And some of them use art as a balm for the soul. You know, when they're creating, they feel good in the act of creation. And for other artists, still, it's the validation, being seen, that comes from being at an art exhibition, or better, even yet, making an art sale. So it'll be nice to get a better understanding, because we've got a whole bunch of stuff lined up with Catherine, with Artist Online. We're going to be publishing interviews, and we're going to be doing some social media features, and we're working on a few art shows for next year. We're hoping on increasing those art shows, but already got a few lined up. But it'll be nice to hear from the artists themselves, because I genuinely and sincerely believe that there is a personal and authentic path for each artist, and that trying to follow the cookie cutter template just doesn't work, because not all artists are the same and not all art is the same. And so that's what I want to figure out. What are the things that we can do to make it easier to get art out there? So let me have a look. I can see there's some questions. So Gigi said that she can't find her target audience. So you're talking about social media stuff, right, Gigi? For the next call, I know that there's a whole bunch of questions about social media. And so we planned a part two to the conversation, because I don't want us to cover so much ground that that it gets diluted. So the call on Tuesday, in 2 days' time, is going to be specifically about social media, because we've got a whole bunch of shortcuts, including finding your target audience and how you can kind of lift the burden that comes with the social media stuff, because I know that can feel heavy. We started the account from scratch, and we were determined. We didn't spend a penny on any ad. We didn't join any follow for follow. We went for organic growth, and so we know what worked, right? Catherine's nodding away there. So we want to share all of that, and it's all about the shortcuts. None of it should feel like a slog. So you can find your target audience, Gigi. We need to identify who those people are, and then the best way of reaching them. But more importantly, how that can happen whilst feeling good for you. Because you want to be creating and not stuck on your phone all day, right? So yeah, we're going to do that. So April, oh, I feel so lucky April's here from the US. The hardest part is worrying so much about posting and feeling you should do more on more platforms. It really pulls your creative focus away. I hear that so loud. April, you do not feel alone this way when you're just trying to do the thing you're trying to do, and you have this long list of I should be posting 10 times a day and this and that. And sometimes, most of the time, it feels like shouting into the void, right? You're just out there kind of saying your thing and nobody's commenting and where's the interaction? You're watching the numbers. Have you had any likes? Did anyone say anything? And then you've got a comment and you click on there and it's an NFT scammer and you just like, I don't want the NFT thing. Yeah, know that feeling. We know that feeling. So, yeah, the overwhelm is real as well. So many platforms. We also thought, we were being modern when we upgraded to Instagram, and then TikTok came along, right? Excuse me. And then we all felt like, oh my God, it's another one that we have to do. Um, my advice for that would be choose one that you're happy on, that fits the format of you, and then do the thing that feels good on there. Because there are so many ways to earn money from creativity nowadays. You can be a painter who makes beautiful paintings and then has successful art shows, gets written about in newspapers and sells a bunch of artworks. And I know one of the artists here, I shan't name names, but I've seen one of the artists who's here with us tonight. I've seen him do that very recently, get himself in the headlines and sell a bunch of paintings in his art shows. Um, but yeah, trying to do all the things is not actually possible. And I think expecting ourselves to do all the things, to be on all the social media platforms, is just too much, right? It's not possible. There's only 24 hours a day. And I think it goes often against the grain of the creative process. And I don't think that feels good for artists. So then the question becomes, how do you find what feels good? If all your life you've created art and you've been told that artists can't earn a living and it's really hard, and it's that concept of the starving artist, right? How do we course correct from that? How do we change direction? It's an interesting thought, right? So difficult to not sound too salesy. Yes, Ricky. Hi, Ricky. It is difficult because we're trying to get our message across. And I think artists do that really well in their creation. Like where the creativity goes is where there's that piece of the artist's soul. So trying to find the right language. I know we struggled with that with Artist Online because we had this amazing concept, and everybody who we spoke to about this thought it was great. We were going to have cut away all the tech and we're going to market artists and we're going to help artists and we're going to revolutionize the art world. And then when you sit down to talk about it, it's all this horrible kind of marketing language that falls out of your mouth. And it felt really icky. And I remember with Catherine in the very beginning, we established the ick test. If you said this, if you went into a bar and said this to somebody in front of you, would would you say that or would it feel icky? And so we installed that. And I think people who are on our mailing list must have noticed because at some point I was like, do you know what? I'm not doing a snazzy, sexy newsletter anymore. I'm just going to talk to these people. I want to have real conversations. I don't want to have this faceless business, right? And ironically, the minute that I got authentic and real and stopped trying so hard, everybody was like, oh, yeah, this is great. Like they feel like I'm talking to them. And that's the beginning of the conversation, which then builds up the relationship. And I think for artists, it can be difficult because you're shouting into the void of the social media, and then you're trying to get the sales and the validation at the same time as you're trying to get this piece of art out of your soul that you're creating. And it is juggling. So let me see. There's another comment here from April. It's nice to be able to inspire others, but many aren't buyers. And so it's hard finding target buyers, but also serving those who just love your art and are inspired by it. That, yeah, again, I love that comment, being able to inspire others and people that aren't buyers. So the art market's always been a funny old market, hasn't it? It's not truly a product business. And yet masses of money moves across over art, generally because of tax advantages or something, publicity, there's always more behind it. Um, you know, um, Fine art is a funny old business, but it is inspirational. And sometimes people can appreciate the beauty of something, but what pushes them into being a buyer is the connection they have either with the creator or with what's being created. So, for example, at the beginning of the call, I mentioned that Chris Pearson was with us. And I personally love Chris's subject matter. I came across Chris's art last year when we were putting together our very first art show. And it just instantly felt like I had to work with this artist. He was great. I had to work with this artist. And then we got to feature him on our social media. And somebody who follows our social media, I hope it's okay to say, Chris, but somebody who followed saw the piece of art and was like, oh my, I love this piece. Like, can you put me in touch with this artist? I want to buy this piece. And so there is a thin line between someone who's inspired and someone who buys. And I think the selling of art takes many different forms nowadays. So, for example, somebody who loves the aspect of creation but hates the vulnerability of putting themselves forward, they can monetize that. They can make money from doing that without necessarily putting themselves on social media or even going to art shows if they don't want to step into that zone. There are different segments of the art market, and it really depends how much business stuff you want to do around the art. And that's a personal choice. Um, but inspiring people with art is important. It's kind of the whole point of art, right? But then the art suppliers don't pay for themselves. So we're back dancing on that double-edged sword, the catch-22. Um, I think we can affect change. I think if more artists lean into their zone of comfort, which again can be contradictory with art, right? Because sometimes art is about pushing the boundaries. But I think it can be done. I think it's time for the art world to get that upgrade, and we instigate that change by being that change, right? If you could have one thing, like right now, if you could snap your fingers and have like an artist bestie genie, what would that artist genie do? If you could go in the comments and tell me that. I really want to understand these pain points so that we can put the things in place. I remember an artist being really excited about being interviewed, and I was like, oh my God, we need to be interviewing artists, because then they feel great and then people find out about them. And so we're building relationships with journalists and yeah, fun times. So it'd be nice to see what else would be helpful. So networking is important. Someone social media content about buying an item. Okay. Bring buyers. Yeah, we're going to bring all the buyers. Self-promotion seems to be the only thing that works for me. Steering people who visit my exhibitions to my online shop works, but very few strangers visit. Yeah. And so bring it, yeah, actually bring it, it's that overall visibility, getting people to come and actually see the stuff because it is a numbers game. It's the same, for shopkeepers and for everybody who sells anything. It is a numbers game. There's always going to be more people consuming, looking, browsing than there are buyers. Um, Community art into others beside my local area buyers. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, the buyers, it's a numbers game. Sadly, it is a numbers game. How do you all feel about social media? Do you feel like you've got social media under control? Because we've been featuring artists on our social media. And I know that when we do the art challenges, one of the reasons we love doing the regular weekly art challenges is that we get to feature a bunch of artists. And some of the artists we've featured have seen massive growth in their numbers. So necessary evil of the social media. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, that is interesting. Do you feel like it's possible? Do you feel like success as an artist, whatever your definition of that might be, do you feel that that's within reach? It does take time as well. I'm just checking in the comments. More help with the technology, social media, more time. Like, for example, if you had an interview, if somebody interviewed you as an artist, would you have some ideas what to do with that interview other than just posting on social media, hey, I've been interviewed? Like, what about the other aspects of marketing? Is that on anybody's radar at all? Let me know in the chat if that's something. I don't know. So, another comment about participating in exhibitions, meeting with other people and artists. Yeah, it is a lonely world out there, I think, for artists. Um, okay. Okay, so like the random marketing. And if somebody said to you, "Oh, I can teach you how to do all that marketing stuff," would that get you excited? I'm looking for genuine answers because when I think of that, for me, it feels like, I don't know, giving people homework and again, like stepping away from doing the actual art, right? You just want it to be easy. Wealthy, big wealthy, someone to do all the things. I've no idea, no time for. Okay. Yeah, the money begets money because you can outsource things. Yeah. Yeah. Snowball effect. She's great once you've got your initial snowball, but if you don't have the snowball in the beginning, you're out there scrambling trying to catch snowflakes, right? Yeah, we got some agreement there. Okay, so shall we should we make a plan then for to have another chat, like specifically focused on the social media stuff? Because I feel like it's the big obvious thing. And it's the one that everybody feels like it's a big burden and it's time consuming. And it'd be nice to just kind of cut through that, right? Okay. Willing to learn, just need the clues. Ricky, quick question. When you are doing the learning, actually, this for everybody, you're keen to learn, but what are the ways that that learning doesn't feel like homework? Like what's the best way to support you? Because with Catherine, that's always the question that we ask is, what's going to be most helpful? Because we're at that age, we kind of, it all feels like rather hard work, right? We just want to do the thing and make it easy. Fine with homework, direct and honest. Okay. Excuse me. Mm. Okay, why don't you all drop your social media handles in the chat. And then ahead of Tuesday's call, I can go and have a little look. And if you've got any specific questions about social media, so I know Gigi asked about the target audience. And then everybody seems to agree about the screaming into the void thing, and it feeling rather like hard work, right? Any other questions? Okay. April, yeah. So if you all put in the chat, then we can all go and have a look. And if you think of any specific social media questions, because I don't want to keep you guys like on for hours. And yeah, I don't want to give you loads of homework. I want to make it feel good. I don't know. I'm so excited to be doing this first live. Thank you all so much for being here. This is the beginning. This is what we've been working to do. Feels very exciting. Okay, and we've got Joanna's link. Great. Artofdom.com. Fantastic. Chris, we know your social media handle. Artist Chris, of course. Ah. Yeah, we're pretty direct people. Catherine, would you like to come on and say hello actually to people and maybe remind me of anything that I haven't covered? Let me hand over to Catherine for a minute. Everybody, meet Catherine.
Ah, no, I'm so happy that you all turned up. Thank you so much. It's really lovely to meet you. I've been talking to a lot of you, April and Ricky, just recent additions to the Instagram family that I am building. But yeah, really lovely to see you all. What are we missing? Have we told people that we're actually thinking about doing a platform? I know that kind of like, but
Yeah, we've got the
yeah,
platform. The idea is we've got the artist online platform, which is where artists can literally for free, really easily just upload a couple of paintings, and then we can do stuff with that because that will tie in with our art shows, right?
yeah,
Actually, Catherine, can I ask you to be brutally honest? Remember when we were talking about Instagram a year ago, when the seed of Artist Online was planted and we were talking about social media? Can you be really honest and tell everybody how you felt about Instagram, please?
I was so over Instagram. I had had an account for a previous role that I was working in that I'd managed and feeding the Instagram. And I just walked away from it for quite a long time, probably a couple of years. I just like, no, I can't be bothered. And so we started this, and Sophie said to me, "We're going to need to have an Instagram account. We're going to have social media." And she looked at me, and I was like, "Ah, don't make me do it." Yeah, and it
But everybody could now see that I made her do it, right?
yeah, it's all Sophie's fault. But yeah, it can be hard work. I get that. And I can see when I'm feeding the Instagram, when I'm monitoring the Instagram, I don't have much time for anything else. So we completely understand where you're all coming from. But equally, I think my journeys across Instagram, meeting new people, and I've had so many conversations with people saying, how can I improve my visibility? I don't get any visibility on Instagram. And I think, okay, well, I'm going to go and have a little look on their profile. And their profile is lovely. It's got really amazing pictures. But somebody's commented on it from like 3 weeks ago and they still haven't replied. And April and Ricky, I know that you two aren't guilty of that, but it's just really interesting that people expect it to sort of magically happen. You do have to put in the time and the hours for it, but I'm sure there are ways of streamlining that a little bit, aren't there? I mean, there are ways that we've adapted to that we can, schedule content ahead of time and just pop in from time to time. You don't have to spend the whole day on it, but it is important that you do feed the beast a little and just talk to people. And if people spend the time to comment, then you take the time to thank them. And yeah, but I used to hate Instagram.
But it doesn't feel so tough now, right?
No,
Like
it just feels more, yeah,
it
there's,
feels more authentic. When you go on Instagram now, you're having real conversations with
yeah,
real people,
yeah.
right?
And I've really got to
So
know some people quite well, which is really nice, actually.
it
Yeah.
is nice.
I've got to know some artists and it feels nice.
It's the
Yeah.
social of the social media, right?
Yes. Yeah. Lots of chit chat. And even TikTok is actually quite sociable.
Oh,
Surprisingly so. I was surprised by TikTok. I've met some nice artists on TikTok too in my journey across TikTok.
who would have thunk it, right? That you
Indeed.
would be on TikTok and enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, enjoying is a strong word, but
Come on, we're supposed to be here inspiring people. But yeah, it doesn't feel as hard work as it did, right?
no,
And we
no.
leaned into authenticity, I think, is what made it possible for us.
Yeah, we
Because,
are who we are.
we're women of a certain age, right? We've got kids that are growing up and flying the
Yeah.
nest. We're not, April, do you need to get on TikTok? Do you want to get on TikTok? That's the answer. And honestly, if the answer is no, then no, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. I think that's the most important message that I want everybody to walk away with at the end of this call is that you can be a successful artist. That success can look like whatever your definition of success is, and you don't have to do any of the things other than shape your art business to suit you so that it feels good. Everything else we can work it out, whether we're, painting the house or rendering it in brick. It doesn't matter, it's about what you want to do because that's what makes it sustainable. If you go against your natural grain and if you're forcing to do these things that really feel icky for you, you're never going to be able to manage it. And it's always going to kind of leak out onto your, well, just your general well-being, your creation and everything else. Um, so hold on, I can see April and Ricky are off doing, oh, well, I'm expecting some of those swanky dance moves on TikTok from you two. Collaboration of what do they call it when they do those little dance things? Time. Okay, let me have a look. Let me just catch up on all the chats. I can't, unfortunately, I haven't mastered the skill of talking and reading at the same time yet. So mix English and Swedish in the post. Oh, we've got a bat that's joined the chat. Boy said the bat. Oh, apparently that's not a real account. Is that a real account? There's the bat. Okay. Couldn't get the link you sent to work. I think I left it too long. We need to get on TikTok. Do we schedule blocks of time for each social media platform in the way that I schedule when I look at and answer emails? You can do. If scheduling feels good for you, schedule. I mean, I love a plan, but I also really love deviating from the plan. So again, like what works for you? You're going to hear that a lot from me. What works for you? So Ricky, safe place among friends. Oh, I think Simon wants to dance with any other artist dancers. He seems to be volunteering his bat to join into any choreographed music videos. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what do you want to do? If you don't want to be on TikTok, you don't have to be on TikTok. If you are on TikTok, you don't have to do lip sync and dance moves. If you are on Instagram, you don't have to do trending music things. There are different ways to communicate the message. And if you can find your happy place on how you communicate that message, it can feel easier. So, okay, Ricky's not on TikTok. Yeah, so if you don't want to be on TikTok, don't be on TikTok. If you don't want to be on Instagram, don't be on Instagram. Although I'm guessing if you're here, you probably came across us on Instagram. But yeah, that's basically the plan. So should we say that on Tuesday we're doing all the social, like we're diving into social media, and I'm guessing Instagram more than any other platform. Can we get a vote? Is Instagram good for everybody? Still a full-time job organizing exhibition and following up leads. Social media is important, time consuming, more successful online. Instagram, got thumbs up for Instagram. Liz, Gigi, everybody. Okay. We can touch on other platforms if there's anything else that anybody else wants to talk about, even if you want to ask about, LinkedIn, or maybe your happy place is going to be Pinterest. There are really loads of options. So the call on Tuesday will be the same time as it was tonight, which is it's Central Eastern Summer Time, so 8 p.m. French time. So they say Facebook is good to link Insta and Facebook. Yeah, that's the one thing. If you focus on Instagram with Meta, you can link it with Facebook now and send it to auto publish. And there's loads of really easy tools that you can use. I think the biggest obstacle is communicating what you're trying to communicate so that you attract the people you want to be seeing your art. So, your target audience, and how do you appeal to them in a way that feels natural, authentic, and easy for you. So Blue Sky, Simon's asked about Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky. We don't do much on it, but we are on Blue Sky, and we've got, a few hundred followers who have ticked over, so we can talk on our experience of Blue Sky. And for those who don't know, Blue Sky is an offshoot of Twitter when it became X and went a little bit crazy. I don't know. I don't like to use that word, but I think it's appropriate in this instance. So we can talk about all of that on Tuesday, if that works. We've got, today is the first of 3 calls because not everybody can come at the same time, Not everybody's going to be interested in everything. So we're going to be talking on Tuesday. We're planning on talking about social media and what help. Oh, we've got someone who's saying to be careful not to link Facebook and Instagram because it was linked and they got shut down. 5,000 followers. Yes, still haven't got a third back. Yeah, there are some tech glitches that are possible, which is the problem if you put all your efforts in marketing on social media, you don't actually own your social media stuff. So an email list is always going to be more valuable. But not everybody loves writing emails. But again, that can be tweaked. There are tools that are available as shortcuts. I love a good shortcut. Love a good shortcut. Catherine will attest to that. So we've got some chat. The chat's going by quicker. I can't keep up. Ah. Um, is there anything like that's the plan for Tuesday? I really hope that people can join us. And is there anything specific that you want to ask? I think it's the call on Thursday where we're going to be talking about the art shows and what to do at art exhibitions, things to watch out for, and then about our opportunities, because we've got a few art shows that we're cooking up at the moment with Catherine. So, does anybody want to ask anything? I think there's a snazzy option. I haven't tested it, but I think there's a snazzy option where participants can put up their hands. I don't know, is that working? Can someone try that? I don't know if anything's coming up. Oh, not Chris, I saw you physically put up your hand. Gigi, I saw you physically put up your hand, but I think there's like a tech thing, which then means that I can like switch over to you. Catherine. Is there anything that I have forgotten to talk about? Will our art shows be virtual or in person? I assume they'll be in France. So April, we will have physical art shows. We've already done a couple in France. Few more that we have lined up already are in France, but we are talking to some venues in the UK as well. We're hoping that with artists all over the world, we can do art shows all over the world. The idea being that we can have an artist who can have an art show local to them. And we make it into a multi-artist art show. So we take care of all the setup, we take care of all the marketing, and we physically bring more visibility. We do press releases, we do all that kind of stuff. And I mean, we've done sales at our art shows already. We've done 2 art shows so far because we're kind of feeling our way forward takes time and effort to change the art world, right? So we're feeling our way forward, but the plan is very much to go further. We've got a few contacts in Italy and Rome. We haven't got anything quite tied up there yet, but definitely Europe, including the UK, although they're not part of the European Union anymore. They're still in Europe, technically, right? Geographically speaking.
Yeah, we're
And yes, we will do some virtual art shows, but we're going to do them with a difference, because we do want to make art more accessible, and we want this to be a living, breathing thing. We want the money to go to living artists because dead ones don't need the money. We want we want it to be easy, and we want more art. So Cape Town would love to do an art exhibition in Cape Town, have art, love to travel. That sounds brilliant. Okay. So will everybody be coming along on Tuesday? Is everybody free Tuesday, 8 o'clock French time? Brilliant. Can't wait. And yeah, drop in your Instagram handles. And if you think of any specific social media questions, you can drop them in the chat. You can send us an email, message us on any of the social media platforms. Like we are there. And yeah, we want to help every single one of you get more eyes on your art and get more sales done and just create more. The world needs more art. We need more artists. I can't draw or paint or anything. I need you guys to do the art for me. I will help you out with all the other stuff, but you guys need to be creating, okay? So please do that. And please come on Tuesday. It'll be great to have a chat on Tuesday. Right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.